In continuation of Ledre's report, after conflict of interest, we have scope limitation. What is a scope limitation? A scope limitation is a restriction on the engagement that prevents accomplishing the objectives and plans. Among other things, a scope limitation may restrict the scope defined in the internal audit charter, internal audit activities, access to records, personnel, and physical properties relevant to the performance of engagements, approved engagement work schedule, performance of necessary engagement procedures, approved staffing plan, and financial budget. A scope limitation, along with its potential effects, needs to be communicated, preferably in writing, to the board. This may be necessary when there have been organization, board, senior management, or other changes. So there are three important factors regarding a scope limitation. First, addressing conflict of interest. Second, recommendations and objectivity. Third is auditing past and future work areas. So there are two things that we need to consider in addressing conflict of interest. First, an auditor with a conflict of interest in an assurance engagement should be removed. Second, any conflict of interest in a consulting engagement should be disclosed to the client. The next is recommendations and objectivity. The important here is if the auditor designs, installs, drafts procedures, or operates such systems, then the objectivity is considered to be impaired. The last one is auditing past and future work areas. If an individual is assigned to an assessment engagement where he or she worked in the past year, objectivity is presumed to be impaired and should be clearly stated relating to the area that was audited. After scope limitation, let's proceed to the third, which is the resource limitations. What is resource limitations? So it is without having sufficient resources and funding. The IAA may not be able to operate independently and objectively. The fourth is the assessing previous areas of responsibility. Objectivity is assumed to be impaired if an auditor performs an assurance review of any activity over which he or she had responsibility within the past 1 year. Objectivity is also impaired when auditors are auditing an area for which they will have future responsibility within 1 year after. Let's go for the fifth, which is the previous responsibility in non-audit functions. It is possible that management could ask an internal auditor to assume responsibility for a part of operations that could be subject to periodic internal auditing assessments. Internal auditors should not accept such assignments, but it is possible that management may insist. So that's it. The next topics will be discussed by Glenn Mason